Now we are going to look at the last part of this problem. So this is part 2 to our video, solving applications with proportional reasoning. So we are going to focus on the question at the bottom. It says, suppose Christiane realizes the full-size tree is approximately the same height as her house, which is 34 feet. And we are being asked to figure out how tall the young tree is. So we do need some background information. We need the piece of information where Christine lets us know that the shadow of the young tree is 6 feet and the shadow of the full-size tree is 21 feet. So I'm going to add some labels to my diagrams. So the small tree shadow is 6 feet and the large tree shadow is 21 feet. So the small tree shadow, I'm going to highlight in pink. That is going to match up with the base of the smaller triangle. So I can also label that 6. And then the 21-foot shadow is also highlighted in pink, and that matches up with the large tree shadow, which is the bottom of the larger triangle. So that gets 21. All right, so that is going to help us set our proportion to solve this problem. So she realizes that the full-size tree is about 34 feet tall. So I'm going to label the large tree height with 34 feet, and then that means I can label the height of the larger triangle as 34. And those are corresponding sides, so they get labeled with the blue highlight. And I have to figure out how tall the smaller tree is. So I'm going to put a big question mark next to the small tree height. So on the smaller triangle, that's where my unknown value goes. So I'm going to put that as x. That's the value I'm trying to solve for. And those also get highlighted in blue because they are corresponding sides. So now I'm ready to set up my proportion, which means that the corresponding sides have equivalent ratios. So if I take the ratio of 6 to 21, that's the small tree shadow compared to the large tree shadow. That should be equivalent to the small tree height compared to the large tree height. So that equals the ratio x over 34. So again, for my first ratio, I compared pink to pink. And in my second ratio, I compared blue to blue. And it was also important that I kept the values from the young tree in the numerator spot and the values from the full-size tree in the denominator spot. So now I'm ready to solve the proportion. So that's when I set the cross products equal to each other. So the denominator of the first fraction gets multiplied by the numerator of the second, and then the numerator of the first fraction will get multiplied by the denominator of the second fraction. So when I do my cross products, I first start by doing 21 times x, and then that product is equal to the product of 6 times 34. So 21x is equal to 6 times 34. I highlighted the x in red just so we realize that's the variable we're solving for. So 21x equals 204. And now to isolate x, I divide both sides by 21 because that will leave me with 1x, because 21 divided by 21 is just 1, so I have 1x. And then when I divide 204 by 21, that will give me my final answer. I do have to round to 2 decimal places in this case, so notice I use my approximate symbol, so x is approximately 9.71. So the young tree is about 9.71 feet tall.